Hello, everyone. Thank you for thinking Philly and giving us the opportunity to share some time with you and discuss our child care product. My name is Nicholas Coletta, and I am the product manager for the child care product here at Philadelphia. We have underwritten and maintained the child care book of business for over 15 years, and I look forward to sharing with you our core appetite and core coverages. So our topics of discussion will be product appetite, what type of opportunities we'd like to see and which opportunities we would love to avoid, our submission requirements, what we need to get a quote in motion, review of coverages offered. These are our core coverages for the product, review of enhancements. These are additional coverages made available to our child care clients. Claims examples, I'd like to discuss some of the claim types we've seen over the last 5-year period and their frequency and severity. And then finally, risk management services, the additional value added beyond coverage forms. So these 7 classes are what we center the child care program around. We desire state-licensed child care facilities. Potential insurers must be licensed by their state. It's a firm requirement to be a part of the child care program here at Philly. New ventures is a class of business we will entertain, but only under specific conditions and parameters. I'll get more into that on the next slide. Corporate child care is exposure we are seeing more of. More companies are providing child care services to their employees in an attempt to assist with work-life balance, which is creating these opportunities in the marketplace. Nursery schools, preschools, Montessori schools up to kindergarten, as well as before and after school programs are mainstays within the Philly child care program. So on the last slide I had mentioned new ventures, and these are the scenarios in which we can entertain them. One of the most common questions I get is, do we write new ventures? The short answer is yes. The more detailed, correct answer is shown here on this slide. These are the scenarios in which we would consider a new venture opportunity. Director or employee taking over the daycare where they are currently working, a new owner taking over an existing center with child care experience and education in their field, a new owner just starting a daycare center with prior experience in education, a new owner who is running a child care facility in their home and has now opened a commercially licensed center. You will notice the recurring theme here is experience, experience, experience. We build our comfort level in knowing that those individuals running the daycare center have the knowledge, training, and skill sets to run a successfully well-managed, well-maintained facility. With these new ventures, you'll see that abuse limits are typically offered at a lower level, and this is assuming that all the controls are in place. So these are the types of facilities and class exposures that we're looking to avoid. In-home child care centers, sick care centers, 24-hour operations with few exceptions, adult daycare. This can be a fit at Philly, but under our human service non-profit product, not associated with our child care product. Unlicensed daycare centers, under no circumstance do we want to entertain an unlicensed facility, and new ventures without any prior experience. So in order to receive a bindable quote, we need the following items to ensure the quickest turnaround times. So a completed ACORD application, completed Philly Child Care Supplemental App. We can quote off of a competitor's supplemental application and make our supplemental application a binding condition, copy of the current license, website address if the insured has one, 4 years of hard copy company loss runs. We'll also ask for a statement of values for any blanket coverage or agreed value that's requested. These are the core coverages that make up the program: general liability, abuse and molestation, professional liability, property coverage, inland marine, commercial auto, crime, and umbrella coverage. We can offer casualty-only options without property. However, we cannot offer standalone property quotes. Also, our umbrella policy is to be written directly over top of our primary policy. We unfortunately cannot go over another carrier's primary policy or excess policy. We do not offer monoline abuse coverage, but are very happy to entertain abuse coverage when quoting the GL and PL. assuming the loss history is favorable and the proper abuse controls and employee training is in place. Our general liability form is an ISO-based form. We can provide limits up to $1 million, $3 million, as well as deductible options if desired. At Philly, we rate child care accounts on average daily attendance, not license capacity. This is important because an insured could have a license for 100 students, but only have an enrollment of 50. We do not want to charge an insured for students they're not currently servicing. Medical expense coverage for child care students is normal exclusion in the commercial insurance marketplace. We can assist with offsetting that exclusion by providing separate accident and health policies for insureds. We also offer corporal punishment insurance, but that is only for insureds who have formal written policies against corporal punishment. The coverage is really meant to cover the entity for a rogue teacher's actions. Employee benefits is another coverage with limits up to $1 million, $3 million that we can provide on a standalone basis. Cyber liability is an emerging coverage line. The needs of child care facilities due to ever-evolving technology exposures has increased exponentially over time, as well as demand for the coverage in the marketplace. We can not only provide a very robust standalone cyber policy through our management and professional division, but we can also offer cyber limits up to $100,000 as a sublimit in the package commercial policy. So unfortunately, incidents of abuse are in the news daily. They affect everyone, all social and economical demographics. We have seen abuse claims on small child care accounts that are less than $1,000 and on large million-dollar franchise accounts. No one is immune to this unfortunate exposure. With the proper controls, risk management, and training in place, we can offer potential insureds up to $1 million, $3 million limits on the primary package. This can be done as a supplement of the GL or as a standalone coverage tower. There is also capacity to consider coverage within our umbrella policies. Employee defense cost is also a unique coverage we offer. We will cover the defense costs of an employee alleged to be involved in an abusive conduct incident until the time they are adjudicated. Child care professional liability is quoted on every account. It's a required coverage as there's a blurred gray line between the GL claim and sometimes PL claims. The failure to supervise is the most common PL claim that we see. We generally match the professional liability limit to the general liability limit and thus have the ability to go up to $1 million, $3 million. This is always a standalone coverage and never a shared aggregate limit of the GL. We can offer claims made or occurrence form, and the professional liability will always be offered into the umbrella at full limits if an umbrella quote is provided. So these are two unique coverages we offer. Kidnap and ransom insurance will assist in the costs and expenses associated with the unfortunate kidnapping of a child. The coverage can assist with the fees and expenses of an independent investigation, a reward to an informant leading to the recovery of a child, expenses associated with public relations consultants, the cost of travel, expenses and accommodations for the insured or parents while attempting to resolve the abduction, lost salary for the parents, psychological counseling for the parents or siblings of the child or the abducted child themselves. Also, it includes funeral and burial expenses are covered if the event unfortunately leads to that. And this is just some of the coverage expenses associated with this type of unfortunate event. The excess medical payments is a very unique coverage because med pay expenses is traditionally excluded for students and for children on child care and daycare policies. That exclusion does still exist, but with this coverage we try to assist and provide coverage above and beyond what is covered by an accident and health policy. This coverage would be excess to any accident and health policy in place. So the casualty coverages are the dominant concern when developing an insurance program for child care facilities, but property coverage and auto coverages are obviously valuable parts of a well-rounded insurance program. We provide important coverages like agreed value, boiler coverage, blanket coverage, and actual loss sustained business income forms. We have the ability to insure school buses and vans with $1 million combined single limit and also offer higher limits available in our umbrella policy. We utilize a ISO-based form for both coverage lines, and we then enrich them with policy enhancement forms to provide even more robust coverages. Crime coverage and inland marine coverages are also available within our child care program. So in addition to the base coverage forms, we offer coverage enhancement forms for many coverage lines to strengthen the insured's policy. Here are a few examples of the coverages offered within. Within the GL enhancement, we offer 21 additional coverages. Just some examples of these more profound coverages are blanket additional insured status for landlords and lessors of premises, increasing the standard damage to premises rented to you limit in the ISO GL coverage form to $1 million, MedPay coverage being increased from the standard $5,000 in an ISO form to $20,000, expanding the definition of bodily injury in ISO GL form to also include mental anguish. The Elite Property Enhancement form provides 40 additional coverages. The coverages focus in on the greatest needs of a child care facility. For example, $300,000 of business income is included with an extension of 120 days. There is $30,000 of water coverage provided, which can be used for backup in sewer and drain losses, which is excluded in the traditional ISO coverage form, or it could even be used for flood-type claims, which is also excluded in the traditional ISO coverage form. Ordinance and law has also been increased in this form up to full building limits for coverage A, and we are offering $300,000 each for coverage B and coverage C. Additional enhancements are available. The auto enhancement includes 20 broadening coverages, including the removal of deductible and glass breakage, towing at $100 per disablement, blanket additional coverages for lessors, hired car physical damage, as well as coverage for permanently installed electronics. At Philly, we also offer an enhancement called the Bell endorsement, which provides 14 policy enhancements. A small sample of some of those coverages that are important to child care facilities is $50,000 of workplace violence counseling, as well as $50,000 image restoration and counseling. Both would be extremely valuable after a tragic incident or event. Crisis management coverage is also given to our child care accounts. This $25,000 limit will reimburse an insured for crisis management emergency response expenses incurred because of an incident giving rise to a crisis. So these are the types of claims that we're seeing with some frequency with the child care product over the last 5 years. For the casualty line of business, frequency is up, unfortunately, in abuse and molestation, slip and falls. Playground injuries are, unfortunately, always a part of child care program. Inadequate supervision, speaking back to the PL-type claims, that's where we see our greatest amount of PL losses in inadequate supervision of teachers. The leading types of property losses, water damage, pipes, leaks, and frozen pipes. There's been a lot of rough winters over the last couple of years. We've seen cold come into places and parts of the country that they typically haven't been historically. Those areas of the country don't have the same insulation or preparation for winter that is probably in existence in the Northeast and in places where there's cold on a regular basis. So we've seen a great uptick in those type of losses. A lot of CAT claims have come through in terms of hail damage and wind, and fire is unfortunately always a part of property losses. So the leading types of auto losses we're seeing over the last 5 years are insured vehicles rear-ending other vehicles, the failure to yield, improper lane change, and backing up improperly. And a lot of these claims are tied to distracted driving. So here are some claim examples and descriptions with the loss incurred amounts on some of the casualty claims we've seen on the child care product. Abuse and molestation, a male employee had improper contact with children at a daycare. That was a $2.8 million claim. A child slid down a slide, unfortunately, with a rope wrapped around their neck, which got caught and choked the child. That was a $1.5 million claim. A mother attending a party slipped and fell on bubbles from a bubble machine, so it's not just the children that are concerned. There's the slip and fall there. That was over $800,000. We had an 8-month-old child found unresponsive in their crib while taking a nap. Unfortunately, that was a SID scenario, and that was over $800,000. A 10-month-old child pulled a bottle warmer down on himself. That was over $500,000. We had a claim where a child was suffocated under a beanbag while playing hide and seek, which paid over $500,000. An employee handled a 2-year-old roughly, and there was also some force feeding. So that was an abuse claim that was $121,000. So abuse is not only sexual in nature but can be physical. That was covered under our abuse form. Staff was changing a child on a changing table and turned away for a second, and unfortunately the child rolled off and broke their arm. That was a $100,000 claim. And we had a child fall off of a slide and broke their eye socket, which was $100,000. So unfortunately, we see these types of claims on a regular basis, and they can happen at any daycare. They're not just happening at poor daycares or poorly run facilities. Sometimes the best facilities with the best measures in place have some of these unfortunate events. So some of the property claims that we've seen a large fire. It was a $1.2 million fire. The cause was electrical. There was also a building fire that was just under $1 million at $982,000 from an AC unit that caught on fire, which led to the sprinklers coming on, and the sprinklers caused the majority of that through water damage. Pipe burst, as I mentioned, some of the water pipe burst claims are due to freezing. That was $510,000. We also had another pipe freeze burst that was just under $500,000, and a wind hail claim that was just under $200,000. So these auto claims, we had a $1 million claim from improper lane changing. We also had a claim that was just over $500,000 where the insured failed to yield for a motorcycle. We had a claim just over $300,000 where one of our insureds hit a pedestrian in the crosswalk. A claim just over $200,000 for a man riding a bike who was hit by one of our insureds. And then we also had an insured who lost control of their vehicle and ran into a home. That was just over $200,000. So because at Philly we see all of these types of claims that I described on the prior slides, we over time have developed an expertise in handling child care claims. Our claims management team has more than 15 years of experience servicing insureds with complex claim scenarios, and there's a review committee for every new lawsuit that comes through. The ease of doing business is important to us at Philly, and we have an easy online reporting system to assist with getting claims into us. We also don't tie up the small claims. Our examiners have the flexibility to reserve and settle the ones that make sense and do so in a timely fashion. So the other important element that a child care account should be looking for an insurance carrier besides quality forms and an expertise in claims handling is risk management services. We pride ourselves on superior service and exceeding expectations. We want to assist our insureds in being the best risk they can possibly be. We do this through assisting in developing policies and procedures, creating action plans to reduce frequency of claims, providing access to on-demand tools, online training, and other services through our website. And we also conduct on-site surveys at insured locations with our risk management team providing feedback to assist insurers in improving their premises. So there are many services and trainings we provide, but here's an example of a training that can help child care accounts with many of those auto claim descriptions I shared earlier. Driver training, more specifically distracted driver training. It's an online 20-minute course meant to educate the insured's drivers how to be safer behind the wheel. This is assessed through our website at no cost to the insured. Certifications are provided after completion. We have over 100,000 individuals who have taken this course since 2005. Another highly important area of risk management for child care facilities is abuse prevention. With Philly being so heavily involved with nonprofits, schools, religious organizations, amateur and youth sports, camps, and daycares, this is always a point of loss prevention focus for us. We as an evolving society and the shift in legal climate with greater frequency of suits and much higher jury awards, it is in everyone's best interest to move past the thought that minimum training and mandating reporting is sufficient in abuse prevention. State-required legal mandated reporting is a reactive step to report something you see after it has happened. Our partnership with abuse prevention systems is training, hiring practices, oversight, policies, and procedures that go well beyond mandated reporting and focus on being proactive and preventing abuse before it happens. So in turn, there's much less to report. This is at no additional cost to the insured. At one point in the past, we had a partnership to get this service at a discounted cost to our insureds, but we felt that the program was so valuable that we wanted to offer it to all our insureds at Philly who have abuse coverage at no additional cost. Our risk management team also wants to help our insureds understand when, where, and what type of claims are occurring. This is especially helpful with large insureds with many locations sometimes spread across different parts of the country. We can assist insureds develop loss trend analysis to focus in on the frequency or severity and come up with plans to improve those insureds in the future. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about our child care product at Philly. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, Nicholas Coletta, or to Terry McCoy, who is our underwriting production specialist for this product. I have included both our contact information on the slide. Have a great day, and I look forward to working with you in the future.